Welcome back to the Hockey Show, and today we're talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs and their goaltending conundrum they have, because this team and their fan base, what is their current goal? What is their aspiration? It's to win the Stanley Cup. That is all that matters to this team. Winning a President's Trophy, no team really cares about that unless you're like a team like the Boston Bruins and you've got like a real record to set, winning the President's Trophy only means something if you're like a breaking into team like the Vancouver Canucks or something. A team like the Golden Knights or the Toronto Maple Leafs at this point, that is not what matters. What matters to you is winning the grandest prize of them all, and that is the Stanley Cup. And the Toronto Maple Leafs, with their goaltending fiasco that has gone on for so many years now, from Jack Campbell 2 years ago, then Ilya Samsonov, and now who? This team does not understand. To win the Stanley Cup, you need to have a goaltender in the net, and that can just keep your team alive and just give your team a chance to win at the end of the day. And also, to win the Stanley Cup, you need three of the main core essential things of a hockey team. That is good offense, and goaltending. They have one of those things, and that is the offense. Offense, absolutely, this team has at least top-end offense. Towards the back end of things, that's where things fall apart. But then defensive things are not the greatest. And then goaltending is a black hole that I've never seen as big on any team in history ever. So, the Maple Leafs, what the hell are they going to do? Because now they've sent Ilya Samsonov, the goaltender that they thought was the solution to their issues, picking him up from the Washington Capitals, is being reassigned to the AHL, which is not surprising, as he is not the greatest goaltender in the world by any means. And it just makes you think, because the Maple Leafs, look at what other teams have done. Take a look at the Vegas Golden Knights. They picked up who? Adin Hill. Adin Hill led them to a Stanley Cup. Before him, Laurent Brossoit, who the Vegas Golden Knights also picked up. Two goaltenders that the Toronto Maple Leafs also could have picked up. The Maple Leafs, over this offseason, could have picked up Cam Talbot, who went to the LA Kings. They could have picked up Laurent Brossoit, who went back to the Winnipeg Jets. Those two goaltenders right there. Brossoit, you at least could have given him a flyer. Sure, he's not like the greatest goaltender in the world right now, but he showed himself in the playoffs that he can be a competent, well-playing goalie. That's what this team needs. And Cam Talbot as well is playing phenomenal in a very defensive team like the LA Kings, so who knows how you would have played in Toronto. But you know what I mean, is that two goaltenders that they could have had, and even going back 2 years ago to Adin Hill, this team could have had somebody, but instead they are stuck with Ilya Samsonov and their lackluster goaltender now in Martin Jones, who is currently netting them not the worst numbers in the world, with a 2.37, a .926, and I believe his numbers are like 8 and 5 right now. But Martin Jones, being a San Jose Sharks fan myself, I've watched him. He was like the goaltender while I was watching hockey. He was the one that was such a solid Vezina contender to the way to the Stanley Cup. But that is, 7 years from that now? He is not a goaltender that is going to house a team that is so poor defensively like the Toronto Maple Leafs. Take a team like he played for last year in the Seattle Kraken, where they're kind of a very, strong playing team that is aggressive and pressuring and plays solid hockey up front in front of them and gives them some sort of support, and he can back them up. But even then, backing them up, that he did not have the most stellar of numbers. And in Toronto, I believe those ones are going to go down as well. He's a inconsistent, poor goaltender that, when he's at his best, could be one of the best goalies you've seen in the league, but he is not going to be that, especially when he goes to the playoffs. And I'm sure right now, for Brad Treliving and for most Toronto fans, he is just a placeholder. He's not going to be the one holding down the fort for long. Joseph Woll, will he be the brick wall that he has been throughout the games that he's played this season? I don't think so. And he isn't going to be the guy that I think they put their trust into for another playoff run, where guys like William Nylander's contract is coming up and he might rather go to another team that has a better chance of winning a Stanley Cup. So, what happens with Toronto? They have to go for a goaltender. They have to find somebody to put in this net to give them a chance to win. Plus their defensive issues that are already an issue on this team. Because not only is a goaltender going to fix anything, because we've seen in the past that just a solid goaltender is not going to win you the Stanley Cup either. Take a team like the Panthers last year, where the Bobrovsky was the unstoppable machine, and then just Vegas showed them up. You need to have stellar defense as well. And this Toronto team does not have that. They've got some good players on the defensive side of things. Morgan Riley's, I think, maybe is very underrated in my eyes. But it is not. They need a goaltender. So, first of all, defensive issues. They can't really fill those because they don't really have a lot of assets to give away. When it comes to assets, they have, first of all, zero cap space. Absolutely none. And they have future cap space concerns, especially when it comes regards to the William Nylander contract situation and just other players as well, because you can't really bring on a guy that has a couple years deal, because they still got to re-sign guys, and especially one that's going to take up a lot of money. It is a conundrum when it comes to the cap space for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and on top of that, they don't really have a ton of assets to give away, because when it comes to prospects, they don't really have a whole list of them. I mean, sure, they like Brett Cowan and Easton Cowan. Brett Cowan, who's that? I think that's a person. And then just like, they don't really have the greatest of prospects to trade away either, and draft picks as well. And when it comes to cap situations, what you need is that those top-end guys that are being paid big money, and then to fill in the holes of those young guys that are still growing into their getting those big contracts to fill in those spots. If you trade those guys away, you're just going to have to keep signing more veterans to actual money deals if you want to be a good team, and that even furthers that pit that the Maple Leafs are filling their shoes with. So, what the hell does this team do? I mean, this is not a good situation. For the market, if there really is one, first of all, you've got guys like Jake Allen, who are making $3.9 million right now, which is not the smallest deals in the world. He plays somewhat a very strong goaltending game at times for the Canadiens, but once again, is this a goaltender that they go out for, they pick him up, and he's going to be the solution to all their issues? I don't think so. I think Jake Allen will break before he bends. And for the Maple Leafs especially, I don't think he's going to be that solution, that problem solver. Connor Hellebuck at the beginning of the year seemed like he was going to be movable, but because the Jets are playing so damn good, and he's a very good goaltender, first of all, the price for him would probably be a lot, and the Jets are probably just not getting rid of him, period, at this point. So Hellebuck is off the table. John Gibson, $6.4 million till 2027, so that's a couple of years on that as well. And the Ducks are probably not going to keep that money, as they're going to have to start signing some of their big guys as well. So that's probably not going to work for them to hold money, so they're going to have to take the whole contract on. What do they what do they give for that? I don't know. I don't think that the money can work there and then them be able to fix defensive issues. John Gibson, I think if he was given to this team, would go on an absolute star run, a Hall of Fame run, especially in the playoffs. But I just don't see how this trade could work. I don't see in a realm, I mean, they could do it, but then they would just, I mean, if they're willing to part ways with William Nylander, then I guess during the offseason, I guess they can make it work. But where do they get the money from to get rid of it? Because then you got to get offload guys from somewhere in this lineup, and that just, you're just like just lowering another thing to fill up another thing, and they're just, I don't know. Then you go to teams like the Flames, if they're willing to get rid of guys like Jacob Markstrom or Dan Vladar. And Markstrom makes a lot of money, and Dan Vladar could be a better option when it comes to the cap side of things. But I think at the end of the day, the current market for them and all of their options are either A, too risky, like a Jake Allen, or like a Dan Vladar or a Markstrom, where they're not really the most proven of goaltenders in the world at this point. Or they're too expensive, even for like a situation like Jake Allen or John Gibson, that the money would just just dig a deeper hole that they're already in. And it would also just max out their way of getting any sort of like other defensive players as well. Like if you want to go, if there's signs that they want to get Mario Ferraro or something, right? If they go for him, that's gonna just the Maple Leafs are built to break. That is what's happening. They are built to look stellar and be a fun team to watch, but just not be able to go the distance. And I just don't see any situation that they can come out on top with their current build. And that is really all I have to say. This is a horrible situation for them. Do they win the Stanley Cup this year? There's just no way. There's too much that can just not happen. And Brad Treliving, he does go out. He does go all out for his trades and stuff. So I do see him doing something. But then you also got to factor in other teams like the Oilers or the team like the Devils that are really needing a goaltender way more than the Maple Leafs do. Well, not really, but you like have better situations to get a goaltender as well. So let's just hypothetically say, let's just throw out that Connor Hellebuck is out there, right? He is primed and ready to go. Let's say he absolutely hates the team, and the team just like talked bad. They water ballooned him outside his house in front of his kids, embarrassed him, and now he's totally on the market. Just needs to get out of there. What do the Maple Leafs? How do they outbid a team like the New Jersey Devils? They just can't. They cannot outbid another team for a good goaltender. And I just don't see it. I don't see a way or a world that they can really go for a goaltender that is going to stick his neck out for them. Like I say in Montembeault, right? You want to go for him. He has some stellar moments and looks like, wow, this guy could backstop for a while. But is he the guy? I don't think so. So really, for the Maple Leafs, I just don't see it. I don't see a realm where everything goes smoothly and right for you at this point. And there's just no way. Because if they run into a team like Boston in the playoffs, who has all of those three factors down, they are going to get smacked. And that's all I got to say. So if you've made it this far, please, I'm begging you, just please pick up your free subscription by hitting that red subscribe button. Please. And other than that, if you did, I hope you're having a fantastic day, and if you didn't, then you can just go have a bad day. And other than that, I guess, thank you for watching this. Too sweet. Have an amazing day overall, and ta-ta for now.